All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this Sleep Plus Supps call. I am so excited you guys are here. My name is Bonnie Norwood. I am a certified pediatric sleep coach. I work for a company called Little Winks Sleep. So if you have littles who aren't sleeping, feel free to give us a follow and we can help you guys get little sleeping. But tonight is all about helping you sleep, helping adults sleep, helping your kids sleep, and we'll be tackling it from several angles. We'll really be looking at routines and like different things you can have as a part of your like rituals and routines to really support your sleep, why sleep is so important, and then what nutrients and supplements we can really be using to help improve your sleep as well. And so I'm so glad that you all are here tonight. I have literally pages and pages of notes. So if I feel like I'm talking a million miles a minute, maybe watch the recording at like 0.5 speed and it will be great. So anyway, a little about me. I've been a pediatric sleep coach for 4 years. I absolutely love what I do. And when I started, just kind of the sleep coach world was very behaviorally based. But over the last 4 years, we've been looking, yes, still at behavior, but more and more and more at how the body works, what the science is behind sleep, and how we can really work with the body to achieve the results we really want and our clients really want, rather than just like kind of white knuckling our way through some behavioral changes. And so much of that is so beneficial for adult sleep as well. And then I always say that sleep is my love language. There is no time I feel any more loved in my life than when my husband's like, Bonnie, go take a nap. I've got the kids. I mean, that is just like, love tank is full. So I love learning all about sleep from as many different angles as I can. And so really, as adults, we need a minimum of 7 hours of sleep a night. Some adults need even more than that. Very, very few need less than that. Like less than 1% of the population need less than 7 hours of sleep a night. So if you always say, I function great at 5 or 6 hours of sleep, or if you hear someone say that, you're probably wrong. And they're probably wrong. They're probably thriving on other hormones to get them through the day. And it's not great for us. So truly, we really do need 7 hours of sleep minimum a night. And the body is wholly connected. Very rarely is it just one singular thing that's off that is causing some sleep disruption or sleep problem, which is why I have pages and pages of notes. And then just a fun fact, getting an extra hour of sleep, every extra hour of sleep a woman gets, it increases her libido by 14%. So I think that's just a fun fact. So anyway, go for it, get some sleep. So I want to dive in first with the very most basic elements of sleep. And the first one is the sleep cycle. So there's really four main parts of the sleep cycle. There's N1 and N2, which is called light sleep. There's deep sleep, and deep sleep is the body restorative sleep. So that is cellular regeneration for kids. That's like physical growth, that's body repair, immune system, all of that good stuff. Then there's REM sleep. REM sleep is the brain sleep. That's where memories are being stored. That's where your emotional regulation is really being fine-tuned and supported. All things like mental health are really supported in REM sleep. But our bodies were very much so designed for survival. And your body can survive with poor mental health. It cannot survive with poor physical health. And so our bodies prioritize deep sleep over REM sleep. So if you're sleep deprived, you're probably getting almost enough deep sleep to function. You are, but you're doing that at the sacrifice of your REM and mental health. So it's really important to get the full amount of quality sleep so that you're getting the full amount of deep physical sleep, yes, but also the full amount of REM mental sleep. So important. Another key to sleep is sleep pressure. And the chemical that really is sleep pressure is called adenosine. Um, when our brains, basically adenosine builds and builds and builds while we're awake, and then when we sleep, it releases. And our brains have kind of like a max capacity for adenosine. But again, our bodies are very geared for survival, and it would not be beneficial for survival for that adenosine to raise, go above the cap, and our body just shut down. That would be terrible. Imagine you're driving and people's bodies are just like shutting down all the time. That would be very bad. So what our bodies then do is they release cortisol into the system. And cortisol then blocks the adenosine receptors in your brain so that your body cannot feel how tired you are. That's where you get that second wind where like you've been going, you're so tired. And all of a sudden, you don't feel tired anymore. You feel good. You're ready to go. That is cortisol flooding your system. And man, I could have a whole other talk on cortisol, but I'll just hit some highlights. So caffeine also blocks the adenosine receptors in your brain. And so if you drink caffeine and then you have trouble sleeping, I think this one feels fairly obvious. It's because your brain can't feel how tired it really is. And a caffeine crash is when the caffeine wears off and you're met with the full force of how much adenosine you actually have. So going back to cortisol. So cortisol does lots and lots of things, but one of the things it does is it really affects hunger hormones. And so when there's excess cortisol in the system, your ghrelin goes up, and that's the like winter is coming, eat, pack on the fat hormone. I need to eat. So that goes up. And leptin, which is the I'm good, I'm satisfied, I don't need anything, that goes down. And so, yeah, exactly. When we're hungry late at night, it's because there's excess cortisol in the system and you're actually feeling hormonal hunger versus caloric hunger. It's still hunger. I mean, you still feel hungry. I don't think the benefit is to say like, this is hormonal hunger. I'm going to white knuckle my way through this. But the key really is if we can keep our bodies from releasing that excess cortisol in the first place, that is where it's really, really beneficial. Going back to kind of the stages of sleep, N1 and N2 are those really light stages of sleep. Those do release sleep pressure. So I really feel, and I mean, some studies have shown that like Western society and like very developed society, a lot of people are subsisting on just that light sleep or really poor quality sleep, where they may be getting the hours, but it's more N1 and N2. So they're releasing adenosine, but they're not getting that deep physical repair or that REM mental repair. And so that's really where we do need to focus on hours of sleep, but we also need to focus on quality sleep too. Okay, so that's cortisol, adenosine, sleep pressure, all of those good things. So the next part of sleep that's really, really crucial to know is the circadian rhythm. And basically the circadian rhythm ebbs and flows throughout the day. At different points, it releases melatonin. At different points, it releases cortisol to help us stay awake. Cortisol is a very natural, healthy hormone as long as you don't have too much. The circadian rhythm also ebbs and flows your blood sugar throughout the day, and it's very normal to feel more sleepy when the blood sugar lowers and a little bit more awake when you're really moving. There's that cortisol, blood sugar. Very natural to have the circadian rhythm. What is really important though is to have more set wake times and bedtimes to really help take care of our circadian rhythm, help hone it. We've all just lived through daylight savings time, which is terrible for our circadian rhythms. But taking care of our circadian rhythm looks like having a set wake up time each day. Really picking a point where we can wake up, and ideally, if you can get natural light within the first 20, 30 minutes of being awake, that is so healthy for your circadian rhythm and really sets your day on the right track. And waking up in the morning and getting that natural light first thing in the morning is one of the best things you can do to have that melatonin production when you go to bed at night. And really having a natural release of melatonin when you're going to bed at night. Adults have different ranges of melatonin, so do pay attention to your body. But make sure that you're actually paying attention to your body and you're not just doing what you might want. Like, it's better to say, okay, I can tell I'm feeling naturally sleepy now. I should go to bed versus revenge bedtime, scrolling, 2 hours later, get that second wind, all of those things. And then having that really good hygiene of waking up at the same time, getting natural light. That natural light as well, first thing in the morning, helps produce vitamin D, along with regulating that circadian rhythm. However, you would pretty much have to be like in the daylight all day long, all the time, to get enough vitamin D that your body needs. Vitamin D deficiency is the most common nutritional deficiency in the world. And it's actually a fat soluble vitamin. And so if your gut doesn't absorb fat well, it interferes with absorbing the vitamin D as well. And so, yes, we need it to help with the circadian rhythm. Natural light can help with that. So that pairs together. But more likely than not, you need to be supplementing vitamin D. And you need to make sure that you're supplementing a very bioavailable vitamin D that your body can actually absorb, and that you're taking care of your gut as well so that your body can actually absorb it. And so our X Factor Plus, I meant to have all my bottles with me. I have no bottles with me. That's okay. Our X Factor Plus has vitamin D in it. And then when you're pairing that with our gut health system, you know that you're really taking the most bioavailable form of vitamin D, as well as creating a gut health environment where that vitamin D can actually be absorbed into, which is so key. Because if we're just taking things and they're not being absorbed, like what's the point? I mean, I guess it makes you feel good in your head that you're taking something, but it's really not going to do too much. And the symptoms of vitamin D deficiency can include sleep problems, exhaustion, fatigue, weak muscles. It goes on and on and on. But more, key to what we're talking about, the sleep problems, we really want to make sure that you are getting enough vitamin D to help with that circadian rhythm regulation, as well as that quality sleep. Like I mentioned before, the circadian rhythm naturally rises and lowers blood sugar and energy levels throughout the day. And blood sugar and sleep actually have a very partnership relationship. It's not like, oh, if you fix your blood sugar, you'll fix your sleep, or if you fix your sleep, you'll fix your blood sugar. It really is. You have to start by focusing on correcting kind of both at the same time. And as you improve one, the other will improve. As you improve one, the other will improve. And it's just this circular upward positive thing. I keep wanting to say spiral, but spiral sounds negative. So an upward, uphill snowball that's going up in a good way. So either too high blood sugar, prediabetes, diabetes can really affect sleep. Hypoglycemia, too low of blood sugar. I, before taking Plexus and Slim, had awful hypoglycemia experiences where I had to have M&Ms with me all the time or my blood sugar would crash. And so we definitely need to be able to adjust our blood sugar as well while doing all of these other sleep beneficial things. Poor sleep for other reasons can also lower your glucose processing level and can affect your blood sugar as well. So again, we have to tackle both. A simple start can be by starting to regulate your blood sugar with the supplement chromium. And chromium is the main ingredient in our Slim. And so the more we can start improving our blood sugar there, we're taking all of these other things into account to help improve our sleep, you'll see a very natural progression in both your sleep and your blood sugar. So it's great. It's like a 2-for-1 and you're doing both. So it's like a 4-for-1, which is perfect. Some of the routine items that we can be doing that can really help that sleep side of things, taking a bath or a shower before bed, and the way it affects your core temperature, it naturally releases an additional amount of natural melatonin. And so, so by taking a bath or a shower before bed, you don't have to wash your hair, but just a quick, warm, cozy cool off when you get out can help you fall asleep smoother that night. Blue light actually stops the production of melatonin, like totally halts it. And so ideally, which this really does not work as well in our world or society, but ideally, if we cannot have any blue light at all in the hour or two before bed, you will have a much easier time sleeping and a much better quality night's sleep. So in a perfect world, I would have you put your phone down, no blue lights, spend the last hour or two bed, with people, reading an actual book. The library still has books. You can go get a book, reading a book, doing housework, different things like that. And that can be hugely beneficial for your sleep. Drinking 2 servings of alcohol per day for men and only 1 serving of alcohol per day for women shows a 39% decrease in sleep quality. And so that is a very substantial decrease in quality. And again, when you drink, you may have more substantial hours sleeping, but the quality is so impacted. And really, we want both quality and hours. Eating within 2 hours before bed is linked to later bedtimes, trouble falling asleep, and obesity. And the best room temperature to sleep at is 65 degrees. You actually want to be cooler and be warmed up with blankets or coverings and things like that. It being too warm when you sleep can cause a lot of sleep disruption. It can start causing nightmares, things like that, more sweating. We just don't want it to be too warm. You'd rather err on the side of cooler. Now, kids and babies, their body is not as good at keeping your temperature up. And so for kids and babies, you want it to be between 69 and 70. So if you have kids and babies, I'd say 69, 70, and then have an awesome fan happening in your room to help your room stay cooler. So basically going back to the blood sugar sleep relationship, if we can be working on tackling our blood sugar, from a chromium perspective, using that Slim and putting all of these sleep routines in place, you'll see that relationship really expand in a very positive way. Some more nutrients. I feel like I'm talking so fast. There's so many more pages. Vitamin B6 is so crucial for sleep. Vitamin B6 is incredibly crucial, and it's in our ProBio 5, which I've already mentioned in the gut and chatting a little bit about gut health. So what vitamin B6 does is it produces 2 things. So it produces tryptophan and dopamine. And so tryptophan also then coincidentally produces serotonin, which who doesn't want more serotonin, and melatonin, which I think we all know we all want melatonin. And again, I mentioned it produces dopamine. So when we don't have an adequate amount of dietary vitamin B6, that tryptophan is disturbed and that limits that serotonin. And then the melatonin is disrupted as well. And melatonin is something that our bodies naturally produce. And so we want to encourage that as much as possible. We want to encourage our bodies naturally doing what they were meant to do. I mean, again, I could tangent for a long time. Um, but it's not as easy as like going to the store and picking out an ingredient list. Our body works so connected in so many ways. And so we want to encourage sleep from as many angles as we can. As well, gut health is also extraordinarily linked to sleep. 37.6% of people with IBS are more likely to have a sleep disorder than the general population. And so if we can help and start with gut health, it can also naturally improve our sleep. And so they've done some pretty interesting studies that I totally don't have time to get into on different bacteria and what their effects are with sleep. But essentially, some bacteria are very positive for sleep, some are very negative for sleep. So obviously, we want the ones that are positive. And it's really not a static relationship. You're either improving your gut health or you're kind of like harming your gut health. It's never just like staying the same. You're either increasing the positive bacteria for sleep or decreasing the positive bacteria for sleep. And so truly our ProBio 5, yes, it does give solid probiotics, but it also has specified enzymes that help break down the yeast that harm the positive bacteria, promote the growth of the negative for sleep bacteria in the gut. And then our BioCleanse helps flush everything through and helps keep moving all of those negative out of our system. Magnesium is becoming a bit of a sleep buzzword these days. And magnesium is really what's in BioCleanse. And I mean, magnesium is great for so many things. I think it may be a little hyped up for sleep. I think some people are starting to think like, oh, just take magnesium and you'll sleep great. And really, I think I look at magnesium more as helpful in moving out those negative bacteria rather than it being like the missing link for sleep. However, if you do have restless leg syndrome, and if that is what is keeping you awake at night, or if it just feels like your body can't settle, then magnesium does play a crucial role in muscle and nerve function. And it's also involved in regulating blood pressure and blood sugar. So if your sleep problems are from restless leg syndrome, you just feel like your body can't like calm, like your nervous system is a little bit on fire, then magnesium is probably the way you want to go. So again, that's in our BioCleanse. So again, it's not quite the buzzword everyone is kind of making it out to be in the sleep world, but it is crucial if you have certain areas. Fiber as well feeds the really good bacteria in your gut and promotes an abundance of the bacteria that improves sleep. So make sure you're eating enough fiber, make sure you're getting lots of like fresh fruits and veggies in your diet. We all know that. But anytime you do it, be like, I'm going to sleep good tonight. And then also our Slim Hunger Control has prebiotic fiber as well that really nourishes those good bacteria for sleep. So that is super beneficial as well. Okay, some sleep disorder little things I want to touch on briefly, because again, there's so many. Yes, Carissa just said lean and greens have amazing prebiotics and fiber as well. So that is awesome. Use those. So sleep disorders, because again, one thing that's so tricky about sleep is that so many different things affect sleep. Sleep affects so many different things that it's hard to just say like, well, all right, you're good to go. Here's sleep. And so one thing that could be affecting your sleep is a true sleep disorder. And so I just want to kind of hit that quickly. 80 to 90% of obstructive sleep apnea may actually go undiagnosed. And so it's vastly undiagnosed. And so one thing I want you to think about when you're going to sleep tonight is, do you sleep with your mouth closed or open? We really want to sleep with our mouths closed. We really want to be getting our airflow through our nose. That is where we're going to have the most quality sleep. And so if you notice, oh man, I sleep with my mouth open, or my partner always says I snore, or whatever it is, You can start practicing breathing with your mouth closed as much as possible during the day. But if you're really struggling with your breathing through your nose during the day, even when you're doing it intentionally, or if you have a really tough time with your tongue resting on the roof of your palate, it may be worth checking with your GP or PCP or an ENT to see how you can breathe better through your nose and have better sleep quality. My middle, he's 5. He actually in August had a turbinate trim. Basically, one of the sides of his nose was like totally obstructed. It was just closed. Like he could not breathe through that nostril. And the other side has a slight deviated septum. So really there was just no breathing through the nose happening. And it took him 13 or 14 hours of sleep, which is not normal for a 5-year-old, to get the quality sleep that another 5-year-old would get in 11. And so we had that turbinate trim. Now he just needs the 11 hours of sleep. He's good to go. So if you, so it's more, it's so many things. So if you sleep with your mouth open, really try to breathe through your nose as much as possible during the day. That'll translate to nighttime. If you can't breathe through your nose during the day, get that sorted, get that looked at. If it's allergies, gut health is hugely related to allergies. So definitely, start working on your gut health. The allergies can improve. That can be really helpful. If it's something anatomical, then get that looked at ASAP. And then also a 10% increase in body weight may make it 6 times more likely to have an obstructive sleep apnea disorder. Now, again, there's a little bit of, well, are you struggling to lose weight because your body has so much cortisol because you're getting poor sleep? I bet there's a bit of a partner relationship there too. Again, I am not a pro of white knuckling my way through anything. I think we can always work with our bodies versus trying to force our bodies to do something they can't do. But definitely worth weighing what all that is. Okay, almost done, you guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I am loving this. And so ultimately, I've talked a ton about melatonin, and I know that with sleep, so many people are so quick to go straight to, well, I take my melatonin. Over half of the US population takes melatonin daily. That is a lot of people. And it is absolutely fine to take melatonin if you need it. It's not, harmful, it's not addictive, anything like that. However, our bodies do naturally produce melatonin, and I just always feel like it's better to go with what's naturally produced rather than, rather than just supplementing a Band-Aid. You do want to start low and take the lowest amount you need while doing all of these other things. Melatonin is awesome after jet lag or daylight savings time, or if you're in a situation where you have to sleep or you're feeling nervous about something. I love it for those more 1-2 off things rather than something that's part of your routine or ritual. But what's so important about melatonin, and we do have a sleep product that is a melatonin supplement. And what's so important to know is, and it also includes tryptophan. I've talked about all the awesome things tryptophan does. So that's really awesome. But 88% of the melatonin sold worldwide is inaccurately labeled. And it can be up to 340% more melatonin than what is on the label. And so basically, so many companies are just packing their supplements full of just excess melatonin. And again, you really don't want to be taking more than you need. And since the FDA doesn't regulate supplements at all, it is just so crucial when you're looking at supplementation to order from a company you trust. If you are just going to the store and grabbing a melatonin off the shelf, there is no trust there. You don't know if that company does third-party testing. You don't know who's even looked at that melatonin. It could have been literally no one. An accountant could have put that melatonin on the shelf. It just makes me crazy. And so you really need to make sure that you're ordering from a company that you trust. And that is what I love about so many things. But one of the things I do love about Plexus is that all the products are third-party reviewed. We have a scientific advisory board. I know that when it says each gummy is 5 milligrams of melatonin, that it's 5 milligrams of melatonin. I'm not worried about that at all. I'm not worried about it being 30 or 50 or something insane. So just so important to know who you're buying from, that you can trust them. That is just so key. So now that I've told you all the nuts and bolts of what these routines and nutrients and supplements can do, I want you to hear a bit about what that can look like in real life. So Carissa, if you wouldn't mind playing McKenna's video.
Forgot to unmute. Now, let me try that again. Here it is.
And my name is McKenna, and I have been taking Plexus for over 9 years now, and it has helped my family with so many different things. But tonight, I just wanted to share how much it has helped with our sleep. So my husband and I both have family members, parents, siblings who have struggled with different sleep issues and disorders over the years, but he and I both have always slept great. So it was kind of a shock to our system when we had our first child and realized that she was having issues with sleep as well. So the first year we tried a lot of different sleep training methods, and by the time she was 2, we started to ask our pediatrician for some advice. And I believe we tried about 7 different sleep training methods with the care and guidance of our pediatrician. And then he sent us also to a family counselor. So we tried a lot of different things. We tried about 8 different sleep aids and medications over this time as well, and kept being sent up higher and higher. So we went from the pediatrician to a family counselor, to a sleep psychologist, and then all the way up to Arkansas Children's Hospital, to their sleep clinic there when our daughter was 3, to be seen by a sleep psychiatrist. And so we did the full sleep study. It would take me about 2 hours to get my daughter to sleep every night, even when she was 3. And then she would sleep for a couple of hours. She would wake up again. It would take me about 2 hours to get her back to sleep again, and so on and so forth for the rest of the night. And we just all needed a rest. We could tell she was overtired. We could tell her brain just wasn't functioning well on that little amount of sleep. And so at the sleep clinic, they did the full assessment and told us essentially there was no true disorder. It was just the fact that her brain had a hard time shutting down and staying shut down. And so they did give her medication. Throughout all of the trial and error of finding a good medication for her, it was so heart-wrenching because some of them were causing her to have psychotic episodes where she was trying to pull out her hair, where she would have fits of rage, and we gave up on several medications because we just couldn't take it. But we finally found a medication that seemed to work well for her, along with some other natural things that we were doing. So a cocktail of a few things, and she slept okay. And then Plexus came on the scene, and we started doing ProBio 5 for our whole family, and started to realize that she wasn't needing her sleep medication so much anymore. And it was a huge victory, a huge win. I remember going in her room to tuck her in at night, and she'd already be asleep. I have so many pictures on my phone. If you have a troubled sleeping child in your family, you may have pictures of them on your phone as well, because it's like so amazing to your heart to see them resting and peaceful, and you just want to capture that moment. And so we realized ProBio 5 and her gut health being mended a bit was helping so much. And over the years, we added in some of the children's supplements, which helped even more and helped to calm her brain during the day. We could tell with her anxiety and things that she was struggling with in the daytime, that those were being eased even more with the Mega Kids, with those omegas. So amazing. Up to today, the release of our sleep gummies was something our whole family was so excited about, because with the pandemic, and we've switched our our school routine during that time and trying to find new rhythms, it had disrupted our sleep a little bit again. And some of our younger kiddos were having some sleep issues as well. So just with a little, tonight, my daughter said, just a little crumb of the sleep gummy gives me so much amazing sleep cause. And so that's a great tool. We've loved having it. It's a natural option for our family as well. But it's amazing the peace that comes to your family when you're getting the rest that you need. And so I highly recommend any of our Plexus products that help with sleep for even young children. It's been a huge blessing to our family, and I know it will be for yours too.
Okay. And again, hers was for children. We have so many more stories for adults as well. And I didn't even mention the omegas because there wasn't time. I cut that out and we're already 10 minutes over. Omegas are great. You should take them. We have a great one. But all that to say, you know, and you could tell in her story, they did all the things. They did the structure, they did the sleep training, they did the behavioral changes, they went to the child psychologist, they went to the doctor, they did all the like routine physical changes, which you have to do too. It's not one or the other. You really do need to focus on both. But having that nutrition was really what they needed in order to be getting more quality sleep. And we have so many stories like that for adults, teenagers, I mean, any age, elders, lack of sleep is a huge problem. Dementia and Alzheimer's is really starting to be paired with just really not sleeping enough, not having enough of that REM sleep, which is really tough. So anyway, I could talk about sleep for days. I blew through this. I hope it was helpful. And truly, every individual is so unique, and sleep encompasses so many different things. So definitely talk to whoever invited you or sent this video. Really see what your needs are, what really is disrupting your sleep in order to find like the best regimen and best process for you. So thanks everyone so much for coming. This was so fun.